Welcome in on a Football Friday. Former Wolverine Jerry Diorio is with us. It's great to see him. Jerry, how are you?
Great to be a Michigan Wolverine, Denny. It's always great to be a Michigan Wolverine. Win, lose, or draw, it's always great to be a Michigan Wolverine. Proud to be part of the greatest university in the country.
Well, it's great to be with you here on a Friday. I think for a second, people are so down, let's say sad, about Michigan's season. And I had a friend of mine on a text thread, said, "Oh, let's all get together." And, half the guys are like, "Nah, no, not really into it," and all this other stuff. And then I was thinking today, we talk about the team all summer. Everybody's, counting down the days. You can't wait. Just, love football. And then everybody's like, "Nah, I'm not really looking forward to the game." So, but I don't know. I just say all that. It's my own personal experience. People, they're down about about how the team has played. And we're going to talk about that, Jerry. We have a list of things that we're going to go over. We have some picks, pick the quarterback, pick the game, any other picks you want to make. You've got some film to look over, some selected plays that'll be of interest and entertaining to all the Michigan fans that are watching this. But let's start out with that game tomorrow. And Jerry, we don't know who the quarterback is going to be. There was just a flash poll on the Maize and Blue Review, and just about 100 people on the Maize and Blue Review voted. And this is a little snapshot of the question of who they would go with at quarterback tomorrow. And Davis Warren nearly with 50% of the vote. Then Alex Orji, followed by Tuttle and Jaden Davis down there at the bottom, getting a few votes. But a strong contingent saying Davis Warren. Now, these are all Michigan fans on the Maize and Blue Review. They follow it every day, everything that's being said. So these are what the expert people have to say. Now, I go over to Twitter, where I have an account, and I put a poll up there yesterday about who would you start at quarterback for Michigan against MSU. Almost 1,000 people voted in this poll, and the people have Alex Orji at the top, followed by Tuttle. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, that's Jaden Davis. I thought it was going to be in order, but yeah, you're right. Yeah. Jaden Davis, the Twitter fans picked, followed by Alex Orji, then Davis Warren, and then Tuttle. I think the Twitter people, Jaden Davis, after last week, that's what I said. I wanted to see Jaden Davis. Let's put the youngster in there. I've seen what the other three can do. Let's see what the youngster can do. I've been told that the youngster just isn't ready to be out there. It's not that his dad doesn't want him to compete. It's just that the other three are better options. And that happens when you're a freshman sometimes and you come in. Doesn't mean that you can't be a good player down the line or whatever else, Jerry. But he's just not ready to play college football right now.
Well, Danny, I'm going to go with the second horse in both of those polls. I keep going back to a couple questions I've asked earlier. Who are we? I mean, I think it's very fundamental and easy to say that we are a run team. We have better run-oriented offensive linemen. We've got two backs that can play. Actually, more than that. We got a tight end that can exploit short routes. And to top it off, I think if you put Orji in there, it just enhances the run game. So, I keep coming back to a few questions. Like I said, who are we? Or are we denying who we are? And then finally, this is the question that I always go into a season with. Who best to beat Ohio? How are we best going to beat Ohio? I don't think there's a question.
So you would pick Alex Orji. I mean, that's what you're saying here. You would go with Orji without.
It enhances what we have on the offensive side of the ball, and I don't think anybody can dispute that. We've seen Tuttle. We've seen Warren. We haven't seen Davis. We've got some questions about Davis, whether he wants to play this year or not, or if he's ready to play this year or not. You might have something to say more on that, Denny. But I just think if we're going to put our best 11 people out there to complement each other, Orji's your pick.
Now, I see what you're making sense. It's not like I'm sitting here listening to you and saying, oh, Jerry doesn't know what he's talking about. You make the case that I'm going to not argue that Michigan is a running team. That's how they're going to beat them. If you look since 69, so this will be the 55th year since 1969, almost 90% of the time, the team that wins the rushing battle, even though they even just take away what Michigan is good at right now and what they're bad at, nearly 90% of the time, the team that wins the running battle. On top of that, if you look at Michigan State this year, in their 3 losses, they've allowed over 150 yards, and their 4 wins, they've allowed less than 150 yards. If Michigan can get to 151 yards, they can win this game. I think they can do that. Those are just the numbers, the raw numbers that you look at and think about. If you were telling me that and you were the head coach, I would say, I hear where you're coming from, Jerry, but we also have to be able to be willing to make the switch if Michigan gets down, because Orji's not the kind of quarterback that's going to lead them back. I know he did against USC on that final.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't, Denny. No, he did not.
Okay.
Mullins got us back in that game.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a big run. And that's it. That's my point. You can have big plays on the run game just as much as you can have big. You play a T team in high school, and there's 10 seconds left in the go in the halftime or in the game. You know what play you better stop? Trap. Okay? We've seen our offensive line open holes. We've seen our backs exploit those holes and go big distances. And we've seen it without a threat from the quarterback position. Why would I think putting Orji in there would not improve our run game? And I really don't care about our pass game because it stinks. We are 3rd from the bottom in the country on our pass game, and the 2 teams below us are both undefeated, Army and Navy.
So even if they get into a situation, let's say, where they're down 2 scores or down a score late like they were against USC, forget the pass game. Just continue to run it, because that's going to be the way, if they're going to win, that they're going to do it.
What's been our productivity in the pass game? How many interceptions have we had? How many fumbles have we had from quarterbacks? Okay, we're driving down the field 21-7, and we're throwing the ball a little bit, right? Getting big play to Loveland, beautiful catch and pass by Loveland. Next play, what happens? Interception at the goal line. Okay, and in the series before that, with the blocked field goal, that was all run. That was pretty much all run. So, to me, I just don't see the logic. You're denying who you are, at the same time throwing interceptions trying to prove what you want to be. And it ain't working.
Well, when you put it like that, if you were sitting around and the game plan is to run the ball over 90% of the time, because we've seen what has happened, whoever the quarterback is, if they start throwing the ball down the field, nothing good has happened. They're either fumbling it or they're throwing interceptions. So there's no doubt that if you're going with a run heavy game plan, Alex Orji, because of what he is able to do running the ball, Tuttle hasn't been half bad running it, but he's not Orji. Plus he fumbles, right? So that part, you're saying, look, we're running, and it's going to be Orji. I think that they could. It wouldn't be a surprise to me to see Orji.
Let's ask the question: do you think we're going to go down to Columbus and win?
No.
With a passing quarterback, or do you think we're going to go down to Columbus and win with an Orji type package? We are not going to match Ohio in Columbus with their receivers and their run pass threat at quarterback. We don't have that. We don't have that.
Ohio, I can't see a path against Michigan State right now, but I know you're asking me a question I think it's almost rhetorical here. I hear what you're saying.
If you beat Ohio, you beat everybody else.
Yeah, right.
And that's the thing. That's what should have been the objective at the beginning of the season. Beating Ohio. How do we beat Ohio?
Enforce some turnovers, win special teams, play really
and keep
good
their offense off the field
and run,
and ground their defense.
What about Kirk Campbell? Jamyon saying that Campbell doesn't want it to be Alex Orji. Is it obvious? Is it obvious to you that the offensive coordinator doesn't want Alex Orji? Alex Orji started against USC and against Michigan or Minnesota and against Washington. So he started 3 games.
Danny, I hate to say it. I hate to say that our coach doesn't want to play a particular player. I would think that would not be in the cards. I would not think that would be an option. But when you look at the first 8 plays against Washington, there's serious questions that got to come up. When you look at 3rd and 4 on the Washington 44 or 45-yard line, and we're throwing the ball with Alex Orji, you've got to scratch your head and wonder, what are we thinking? We've seen this guy run linebackers over at the line of scrimmage and get 3 and 4 and 5 yards. We've seen them go for 4th down on our side of the 50 and get it numerous times. And yet we go to Washington and we throw the ball on 3rd and 4 on our side of the field and then have to punt it. It's a wonder. It's a wonder. You got to scratch your head a little bit. I'm not saying I'm with them. I'm not saying I'm with the with Robert or who was it that said that? I'm not saying I'm with them, but
Jamyon.
I can understand your frustration, Jamyon.
I don't like it, but the point that Robert's making. So Jaden Davis is in over his head as a true freshman. He's out. Like, they don't think that he's ready to compete at the college level. So you can almost scratch him. What Robert says about Tuttle, you don't want him throwing it and you don't want him running it. I mean, he fumbles it and throws interceptions. Orji can't really throw it, and Warren turns it over when he throws it. So, I mean, I don't know, Jerry, tonight's the World Series. The Yankees had a skipper a couple times. I hired him, fired him, named Billy Martin. But Billy Martin was also the manager back in the day of the Detroit Tigers. And in the 70s, the Tigers were in a slump, and Billy Martin famously just took off his hat and threw all the names in there, shook them up, and took the lineup out. And that's how he went with the lineup. And then the Tigers turned it around. Everybody said, "Oh, Billy with his hat." He was probably at the bar at Reedy's there and came up with it. But I'm ready for the Billy Martin approach. Throw the names in a hat and pull one out. That's what I want Sharon to do.
Hey, any quarterback that goes in right now is looking over their shoulder. Any quarterback that goes in right now is looking over their shoulder.
Right.
I see Denigle's not up there.
No.
So everybody just forgot about Denigle. I mean, if we're going to give everybody else a chance, let's put Denigle in.
Yeah, there's a part where you say, "Wow, he can't be worse than what they're doing." I think your point is a good one about the quarterbacks looking over their shoulder. You know, I was just watching a podcast yesterday or the day before of Seattle Seahawks quarterback Geno Smith, and they were asking him if he would give any advice to Bryce Young, who's been benched by the Panthers, and now he's back up and he has to play again. And that's Geno's been in the situation where he came in and then he was benched and then he looked like he was a backup and now he's back in there. He said, "Look, as your quarterback, you got to let it rip. You got to go in there. It's such a confidence thing. If you feel like you have the coaching staff behind you, and you feel like you have a game plan that's behind you, then you feel like the team's behind you, and then you got to get in there and just let it rip. You can't be tiptoeing through the tulips or anything else, how he was talking about it. And it's an important point. Any quarterback that's out there, if it is Alex Orji, they can't be afraid to let him throw a forward pass. If they do think it's Davis Warren and he's been a turnover machine and the game looks fast for him, they can't go in there and say, okay, don't throw the ball. I mean, Jerry, I don't know how they handle it. That's an important part. I noticed that Jim Harbaugh, somebody told me that when Brady Hoke was coach, he said Brady needs to be standing there by his quarterback. That's where he needs to be. He didn't care about the headset. He said, watch Harbaugh. And you know what? I did watch Harbaugh over the 9 years. He was always standing next to his quarterback. He was always pumping up his quarterback. You got to have that quarterback right, or you're going to be in trouble. They got to let whoever it is let it rip. That's a scary proposition.
You're 100% right, Denny. Confidence in the quarterback is very key. I've been in this game a long time, and quarterbacks that are confident, quarterbacks that feel good about their team around them, feel good about the position they're in, feel good about the coach's support, those usually are the ones that win. And case in point, last year, I mean, how many times did we hear Harb say that JJ was the best quarterback in Michigan history? I mean, yes. That's a hell of a statement right there. I mean, you're talking about a guy who was fourth in the Heisman Trophy getting, right? Jimmy Harbaugh was fourth when he was there?
I don't know if he's exactly fourth, but he was. He made the list, I think.
Okay. So, yeah, and he's telling you that you're better than him, and everybody that came after him and before him, that's got to give you some real confidence, and that makes you feel good about things. And hey, McNamara leaves because of JJ's abilities. So, you're 100% right. Confidence in a quarterback is huge. My thing is, you've got it. You're going to get confidence in your quarterback when he's doing what he can do best. That's my point. And one other thing I want to say, Denny, because I think some people are missing my point. Okay. I'm not saying that we can't throw the ball in the future. I'm not saying that we shouldn't go out and recruit the best receivers and the best quarterback possible, go to the transfer portal and try to pick up the best we can get. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is this year, this was the hand we were dealt. That's your responsibility as a coach, to get your players in the best possible position to win. Number one objective is to win. It's not to look pretty throwing the ball. It's not to look pretty running. It's the objective is to win. And I think we are not answering that question.
Jerry, if they decide, I don't even know if they've made the decision yet, but if they tab Orji,
Andreas, you're right.
They have plays for him. And there's a lot of people, and we've talked about this as it was in the summer and as this unfolded during the season. And I think actually you were pretty adamant when you were watching the film that they need to cater the offense when Orji's in there to his skill set. And it doesn't appear that they've really done that they're trying to run the same thing, whether any of the guys that are in there. That doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. Well, is there a chance that the people are saying, and I don't even know if it's flippant, you're saying it, and I know you're not being flippant, Orji, and it's a heavy run day tomorrow night. That's the path to victory.
Let me ask you something, Denny. What's the difference with running power with Mullings and running power with Orji? Not one bit, except you get an additional blocker. What's the difference with running counter with Mullins and Orji?
You might freeze the edge a little bit more because they're worried about Orji running too.
Thank you. That's my point. That is my whole point, and it's been my point all year. You are putting a defense in a position where they don't have to be challenged. They're not in conflict.
Unless you're thinking that you are going in and you're going to throw the ball In which case, if you're just going, if it's Orji, you are going to put 8 players. You're going to have a lot of run heavy boxes, obviously, if they're going to do that. But they have to decide: are we really going to let Davis Warren, get out there and let it fly? Is that the best game plan? I don't think so. I don't think going in and saying, "Hey, let's take what the defense gives us. Let Davis Warren let it fly." I don't think that they can. If they get behind and they have to, that's one thing. But I don't feel like the game plan can be whoever it is that they're going to be some 50-50 run pass team tomorrow.
Denny, I don't see our receivers getting open. And I'm going to show a play, where we fumble. And the reason why we fumble is because there's no one behind the blitz. When I played for Bo, I don't remember anything in the pass game except my blocking assignments, but I do remember one thing that he used to say in practice. That guy is unblocked. Quarterback, that's your man. And by the way, we're going to have a route right behind it. And that I didn't see Saturday when Tuttle ran the ball up the gut and fumbled. Okay? Yeah, we can blame Tuttle. But fact of the matter is, why wasn't there a receiver behind that blitz? There was nobody in the middle of the field. Nobody would have caught that blitz. You want to throw the ball, that's what you're doing then. You're finding out who the unblocked man is, and you got a route right behind it, and your kids know how to do that. That's my problem. We're trying to, like I've been saying, we're trying to run a square peg in a round hole, and it ain't working. On offense, I'll tell you what, our defense is playing much better. Our defense played very well. What would we give up? 17 points. 17 of the 21 points, or 17 of the 21 points were on short field and turnovers and the fake punt. Our defense played very well Saturday. They played well enough to win, and right now they're playing at a high level. I'm not going to say they're looking like they're coming back to last year's form, but they're playing at a much higher level than they were in the beginning of the season.
This isn't you, Jerry, because you picked Alex Orji, but I think that the fans and I feel it myself. I think people want Davis Warren. It's because he's been the longest that has been out, and you kind of forgot about his first 3 games. And then, obviously Tuttle, people are down on him because they just watched him play this last week. And he did the same thing that he did in he had the 3 nice drives, his first 3 drives at Washington. Then he had 2 3-and-outs, a fumble and an interception. And then he should have had another interception at Illinois. He still had an interception there. Then he had a fumble there. People look at that. There's no way. There's no way that they can play Tuttle. I don't think that there's any way that they put him out there. So it's coming back to Warren and Orji. And I have to believe when they're sitting around talking about the best way to win, it's what you're describing, is that they have to line up and they have to run it, even if they feel like, Michigan State's drawing it in there. Well, then,
I'm going to answer something that Rico's pointed out. He's saying, what skill set is Orji giving us running the ball? And he's being serious. I understand the question. I think it's a very good question. I think it's a very serious question. What skill set does he bring? He brings us extending drives. That's what skill set he brings. He brings the fact that he can run over linebackers, which we've seen now a couple times this year. We've seen him complete 3rd and 3s, 3rd and 4s on his own. We've seen him complete 4th downs. What does he give us? He gives us extended drives, number 1. Number 2, he gives us another running option in the backfield. So the defense, you're going to see times here where the defense does not have any respect for the quarterback coming out the other end. And that's a problem. That's a huge problem with your offense. When they have no consideration, no threat, no conflict from a quarterback, running or passing, that's my thing that Orji gives us. That's his skill set. I hope I answered your question, Rico, because it was a good question. I hope that you understand now what I'm saying. We need to keep drives going, keep offenses off the field and keep our offense on it.
It reminds me a little bit of the election, Jerry, when I talk about it with my friends. Somebody will always say, I don't like either option. But then they're like, but, then you got to talk about, you don't like either option. But then, there's this and there's that. I don't really like any of the options either. So you have to look at everything out there. And, so there it is. That's enough of my.
We need to win. We don't need a passing quarterback. We don't need a passing game. We don't need a running game. We need to win. Number one objective.
Hey, here's a win for you. It's joining the Maize and Blue Review. How do you do that? To get that dub, guaranteed dub? Well, you go to michigan.rivals.com and you sign up. You get full access today. What does a winner look like? Well, you win by getting all of this information, accurate information on the football team leading up to the game tomorrow night. Everything that's going on up and down and sideways with football recruiting. It is a big recruiting weekend. Guess what? The running list of players that are coming in, Michigan's chances on landing them, what it looks like, who's going where, who's flipping, who's getting flipped, all of that. And oh yeah, basketball. I'm watching a Michigan basketball exhibition tonight as they'll be on the Big Ten Network, but we'll be talking about the Michigan basketball team tonight on the Maize and Blue Review on the Den with basketball season rapidly approaching. So go to michigan.rivals.com and get involved today. We'd like to see you over there. Now it's time for some film with Coach Diorio, and I want to remind you that Quick Cut Video and Analytics is your place to store, share, and analyze film. Go there, Quick Cut Video and Analytics. And for that, we turn it over to Jerry, who's looking out there, looking for old Red Grange in the stands there, and he doesn't see him.
All right, Danny, this is what I'm talking about right here. When you watch this run play, everybody is, this is a great play. Our guys are doing, but I want you to watch the detail and how inches create this play. We get a great down block here from, I think this is Gentry, 75, right? We get a great block down here by El-Hadi. Center does a nice job. Watch the kick out and watch the pull. Now remember, this is a backup tackle, and this is and by the way, this offensive line, correct me if I'm wrong, Denny, but a couple of weeks ago, weren't we considered for the Joe Morris Award?
I didn't see any of that. They had they made the cuts. I didn't see that.
I thought I saw that, but okay, I could be wrong.
You could be right.
But anyways, I just want to illustrate why we are a running team. Look at this. This is precision right there. Look at that. We get a tackle inside that squeezing outside linebacker. We get no movement on that guard. That's a good block by the guard. I'm not denying that block. It's a good block by the guard, but it's an even better block and path by the tackle. How he gets through there, that's a very tough path right there. And he does. He does a great job. We get some movement by Gentry, and that's who we are. We are a running team. Now, why not enhance our running ability? And this is what I'm talking about right here, folks. Let's watch this. There's so many things we could do here. We can run quarterback power, put the back over here and run quarterback power this way. We can run this same play right here. Look at this guy. He has no fear of the quarterback. He's coming down to try to contract that hole as best he can because they know Mullins is getting the ball. Okay? Watch it. Boom. Look at Tuttle's eyes. He is actually watching the running back. Look at this safety. He's got all this area out here, by the way. There's nobody out here. And you put Orji at 240, you think he's going to stop you for 2 yards? I'll take your bet. I will take your bet. Okay, now, he's not carrying out the fake. He comes down in the play. We get the first down because we can get 3 yards against anybody. We can get 3 yards against anybody, which stalemates at the line of scrimmage. But Orji will put the fear in these guys right here. And that's why I like him. Okay? We've seen Orji run over linebackers. We've seen him complete 4th downs. And yet we don't have a package for him. Okay, Denny, this is the play I'm talking about. You got 6 guys up tight, right? Everybody see that? 6 guys up tight. Yep. Now, they're asking this guy to get back into this slant. Give me a break. Give me a break. But we don't get to that slant. That's why they don't fear it, because what do we do with this receiver? We go out with them instead of right back from where the unblocked man is. This is the guy we don't have accounted for. Our offensive line picks up everybody else, and we don't have that guy accounted for. You see him coming off the edge there, Denny? Bang, there should be a pass right behind it.
Nobody touched him.
There should be a pass right behind it. That's the quarterback's man. Now, instead of doing this, what do? We do that. The play's already dead. He's going to cover that slant from over here? That could have been a touchdown, in my opinion. That should have been a touchdown because they had nobody in the middle of the field. Okay, do you see that, Denny?
Yes.
Do you see my anxiety here on this? You can't pick up everybody sometimes. You got to have routes behind it. And then we see Tuttle. He's looking over here, and here comes the pressure. Boom. Ball. It's a little too bad. All right, now, I thought our defense played outstanding all day long. This is a hell of a play. You can say what you want. Hill does a hell of a job right here. He knows he's beat. What's he do? He grabs his shirt. You ain't getting 7. You might get 3, but you ain't getting 7. Hell of a job by our defense all day long. They gave up, 17 points on short fields or turnovers. Our defense is coming back around right in the time we need them to. If our offense is peaking right now and our defense is starting to get together, man, we got a heck of a team. We got a heck of a season left. I'm real concerned on the offense.
Me too.
Okay. So here we are. We get a big call. Penalty. That was Tuttle throwing a pick just before that. Just before this play, Tuttle threw a pick, and they got the ball down to the 1-yard line, but they held Johnson, so we get the ball back. Okay, we got a second life. Now, I got a question. I got a statement. First of all, this is illegal motion. He's moving forward. That's illegal motion. You see that, Denny?
Who am I looking at? It's illegal motion, the running back?
Yep. Not allowed to do that, folks. Not allowed to do that. Okay? But what if we did this? We kept Donovan going out this way. You see that, Denny? You following me?
I'm watching.
Okay? Look at this guy over here. Look at his eyes. He has no fear over here whatsoever. He has no fear. He's protecting anything inside here because he knows he's got help from this safety over here. At first, I didn't even know. I thought Illinois had 10 guys on the field. He was so deep. But he does have no care of this run over here. They're bringing the safety down, and he's the unaccounted for player. I don't understand a couple things. Number one, I don't understand why both guards aren't pulling on this. Number two, I don't understand why we're not threatening this outside here. Maybe we'll bring him over, and now the safety will have to play in the middle of the field. Why aren't we utilizing Mullins a little bit more as a blocker? And I understand this is Donovan's fault. This is Donovan Edwards' fumble. No question about it. But I'm just saying, a little bit of creativity, and I think we give a defense a hell of a lot more to think about than just coming down on a freaking run like that. They have to fit both sides.
I'm following you.
Huh?
I'm following you.
Okay? And that's what I'm talking about with conflict. All right. All right. Here's an example of some really creative stuff right here. I saw this a number of years ago in high school. They're reading this 3 technique. They're literally reading the 3 technique. So what they're going to do is they're going to block the tackle up on a linebacker. They're going to take advantage of our coaching because they know Moore is going to wrong arm this and come underneath the kick out. And so what happens is the quarterback now has an outside lane to run and get a first down. But watch what they're doing. They're reading this 3 technique. As soon as he goes down on the running back, he's pulling. And that's a hell of a play. Hell of a design.
How did they know
got
Derek
both their guys inside. I'm sorry?
How did they know Derek Moore was going to go inside like that? Just by scouting him?
Well, number 1, by scouting him. Number 2, most teams do that. When you see a tackle block down, what are you taught to do as a defensive end? Squeeze. You see a trap, get underneath it. That's what he saw. He saw exactly that right there. He saw the trap, he gets underneath it, he wrong arm. He's in perfect position right here, he thinks. Quarterback bounces out. Great play. Great design. Let's take another look at that 3 techniques. Let's see what he did. What's the 3 technique do? What is it? Who is this? This isn't Graham, is it? Is it Graham?
I think it's Roderick Pierce. Roderick Pierce, 95. That's what it looked like to me.
Yep, there you go. Look at him. Quarterback read that. That is not called. That is read. He read that 3 technique going down on the running back, and he pulls the ball and gets out the other side, knowing that he's got outside leverage because our defense is going to wrong arm, which is what they're supposed to do. It's a hell of a play, hell of a lot of creativity. Good for them. Good for them. Again, here's our ground game. Okay? This kid, he don't want to tackle Mullins at the line of scrimmage. And this kid, he's got to play a lot here. Okay? But he's got to take on Mullins right at the line of scrimmage. Watch what happens. That's our run game right there. That's our run game. Boom. Contact. You see it, Denny? That's where we are on contact, 11-yard line. Would you agree with that?
I would say that yes. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So now we're down on the 6-yard line. We just got 5 yards after contact. Move the pile. That's what we do best. We move piles. Okay? We establish the run. Make them fear every freaking run known to mankind. That's what should be in our playbook with Orji. That's what I'm talking about. Make them fear every freaking gap, every freaking run play. But we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Great play here. Just going over the top. Bredesen. Nice block there. Touchdown. Okay? And this is a heartbreaker. 17 points off turnovers in this fake punt. This is a heartbreaker. This is a huge, huge play in the game. And helps lead them to a 2-score advantage. They're on the 15, 17-yard line now. That's very demoralizing for a defense. Yes. Very, very demoralizing for a defense. You just got to stop. Your offense isn't doing well. You just got to stop. And what do? Right back out on the field.
That's why the Lions do it so much. It's such a punch in the gut when you get
it really is.
You get a stop. It's a turnover. It's a new set of downs. The momentum swings way back to you. It's huge. No doubt about that.
No, that's it. And My biggest frustration is we're not putting the best team, in my opinion, out on the field.
Well, they have a chance to change that up tomorrow. Let's see. Jerry, I'm picking Michigan to win this game by 3 points. 19-16 is my official prediction. So the line started out as Michigan -7. At one point, it was down to -3.5. I was earlier this morning. I saw it was 5, so it's been all over the place. But I think Michigan's going to win by 3 points. They can win by 1. I don't care. But I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think it has to be.
No, there's no doubt about it. The way we're going to win now is very low-scoring games, and I'm with you. There's no reason why we shouldn't be picking Michigan to win this game. But I just see, their coach is very good. Their coach is very good. He's got those kids believing. I've looked. I was thinking about it. First-year coaches start their second year probably around week 7, week 8 of the first year, because now they're all of a sudden they figured out who they have, what their needs are, and what their game plan is. And the ones who adapt do well. Bob Stoops, his second year at Oklahoma. I think Tressel won it his second year at Ohio. They got their experience in that first year and really made the adaptations in the second year. I'm not saying Michigan, I'm not saying State is in that kind of frame, but I think this guy has got a real understanding of who his team is, and he's utilizing their strength.
I've got 2 things for you. One is they're both with stats, Jerry, and they'll trot it out on TV. It gets trotted out every year with good reason. The team that wins the rushing battle usually wins this game. You go back to the 70s and certainly the early 80s. Of course, that's what Michigan wanted to do. They wanted to run the ball, so it was really important to win the ground game there. But where Michigan's at right now, it's pretty important too if they can get over 150 yards, considering how Michigan State has done this year against the run. So, do you put the old win the running battle, win the game when that's just thrown out? Are you agreeing with that for tomorrow?
Always, and the same thing with Ohio. You look at that game. Who's won it? The team that's rushed the ball. And remember, we're getting in the weather here. We're getting in the weather. Okay, winds, rains, cold. And that's why the teams that run the ball best win in November. We have a great running game if we utilize some of the things.
What about the stat that I was not aware of until yesterday? The lack of success for a first-year Michigan coach. It's been 76 years. Every first-year head coach for Michigan loses to Michigan State. So you're going to Harbaugh. You remember the 25th? That was the snap game, and of course Hoke and the car lost. Bo lost his first one, and he said he was never going to lose another one because he knew how important it was. Something like that. But there's a lot of coaches with a lack of success. You put anything in to that particular stat that it's been 76 years since a first-time Michigan head coach has beaten Michigan State. What do you make of that stat?
Hey, stats are there to be broken, right? Come on, Sharon. Stats are there to be broken. We can win this game. We can win this game. It's a winnable game. It's a game that can get us back on track and can help salvage this season. We've got a lot in front of us. We've got a tremendous amount in front of us. We got Oregon in front of us and Ohio in front of us. And this Michigan game in Indiana, we've got a tremendous amount in front of us, and we should be looking at that as opportunity. Those are great opportunities for this team. I'd like to see us put our best foot forward.
I'm with you on that. I can't, there's some things that you look at and say, hey, that's history, but every year and every coach, it's a different situation. I just think it's one of those things. And if Sharon Moore had come from Oklahoma and didn't know about the state of Michigan or some outsider, he definitely knows. Obviously, Harbaugh knew about Michigan State. So did Carr. So did Moeller. I mean, these guys know. Schembechler might be the one. I mean, he said afterwards, I don't know, I have that exact quote, but he said, he knew after that it was not going to be whether he was taking it more serious or whatever else. I mean, he got a little blindsided that first time, but Moore understands. So it's not going to be because of, him taking Michigan State lightly because they're, were a joke last year and everything else. It's that's just one of those things. I just wanted to see what you thought because
Denny, I got to tell you, my second start was against Michigan State in Lansing my sophomore year in 1981. And, that game, Ohio, when you're playing Ohio, that week goes by like it doesn't even come. You're right in the game, and it's just it's a war. But Michigan State, there's almost a hatred. Almost a hatred between the two, and that's why this game is so important. It's in-state bragging rights, it's in-state recruiting rights. It's got so many tangibles that are involved in this game that this is a big game for us. We've got to win this game. We can win this game. We're going against the 12th ranked team against the Rush in Michigan State. We just went against the 15th ranked team against the Rush in Illinois. I'm hoping we're learning our lesson. I'd like to see Orji out there and utilize our best running game.
Losing and having a down year is somewhat acceptable even to this point after what happened last year. And now that even though I didn't predict it, and you look at the losses and just how things have played and not getting it right at quarterback. But all of that is one thing. Losing to Michigan State is another thing. They got to go out there and win this game tomorrow or all hell's going to break loose. So go out there and win the game. I mean, there's just a few things left when you have this kind of season. Bowl eligibility would be one. And it's tied with winning the game tomorrow because then that's going to be in serious jeopardy. All the reasons you said to beat your in-state rival, the state championship, they've got to win this game. Out of the remaining games, in fact, this is the most important game that and that they need to win if they want to think about doing anything that if we're putting together saying, hey, any positive list of things that can happen starts with a victory tomorrow night. So that's what they have to have, and that's my final say. Go ahead.
This could be a turnaround right here. This could be a turnaround. If we can beat Michigan State and get on a roll and find ourselves, this could be a turnaround. It's just a huge game. I'll never forget my first start in East Lansing. Actually made a block for Anthony who sprung him for a touchdown. That was kind of cool. But, this game is, we know each other. My neighbors are Michigan State fans sometimes, So this is something that stays with you all the time and all year long. And this is bragging rights all year long. So, we've got to win this game. It'd be a great boost to the season. And, we can still get on track.
Great job, Jerry. We look forward to talking to you tomorrow night if you're going to be available. So.
Hey, go Falcons tonight. We got the Rockford Rams in East Kentwood. I think we're in the playoffs, Denny. I think we're pretty much secured in the playoffs. Can't wait to get out there and see this rivalry between Rockford and East Kentwood tonight. This is going to be fun.
Go Falcons.
Go Falcons, baby.
Good luck, Jerry.
Go Blue, baby, and hail to the victors.
There he is, Jerry Diorio. Smash